What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Getting ready here for our live session. Welcome, everyone. We give everyone a couple minutes to get up in the room. And hold on, let me provide a link right now. There's the WHO press conference. I'll update you shortly. Oops. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquering the Markets. We are getting ready here for our live stream. Hope everyone is doing well and great today. Markets are alive. Gotta love this. Right now, currently, the WHO is giving a press conference. They're saying for the first time, the new cases outside of China have eclipsed the cases inside China. That now is the time for countries to act strongly in order to be able to protect themselves. Obviously, the market is pricing all of this in and rapidly. We're going to take a look at everything right now. Just bear with me a couple of minutes. Give everyone a couple more minutes to get into the room as finish this press conference here. So we got sound here, Rusty, and everyone. Just a couple more minutes here, and we'll get started. All right. What's going on, everyone? Hey, hope you're all well, doing great. We are seeing the markets continue to expand. Some really good trading opportunities. Let's take a look at what's going on. We'll start here with the S&P 500, just because we are currently, look at this bleeding. We always talk about when the markets come down, they come down hard and fast. And here's what we're having. It looks like right now, well, they still got more to drop, right? So here's the theme of today. The theme of today is if we expect, we started off actually, and we saw the risk. The risk was the coronavirus at the very beginning of the outbreak, right? We then watched what happened, and now it's really come to a point where it looks like this is going to be more or less a black swan event that could really have repercussions, severe repercussions for the entire world economy, right? The market obviously has spent this past week pricing all of that in and continues to price that in. It does appear to me that any bounces, and eventually there'll be a bounce, will be sold. It won't be until the Fed not only starts cutting rates, the Fed will have to come in and cut rates. They'll cut rates first slowly, they'll come in again, and then eventually they'll start cutting rapidly. Once we get near zero, once the Fed starts instituting QE, this is going to be the time that we could actually look for any type of risk on assets. Right now is not the time for that. Right now is positioning ourselves. Looking here, what's happening on the euro US dollar. This is the story of the day because the euro and the Swiss franc are the two strongest. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on with the euro Swiss franc. We'll look at that in a moment. But here we're looking at the euro US dollar. We can see we're coming back into this area of strong resistance. This is one area of resistance. We have another one up here that is really strong. Those are going to be both areas that I'm going to be looking to start fading and build up a short position. And that's because I do believe that, well, first of all, we came down really hard, really fast. We closed the gap. We came into this area of support, and we've since bounced, right? We've been tying in the move up on the euro to the move down on the equities, and that's been noticeable the last few days, but that's not any type of long-term correlation that I know of, except maybe it could be foreigners, those not inside the United States, pulling money from the US equity market. When they pull the money out of the US equity market, it's got to be converted. A lot of them are obviously in Europe, converted into euros. This could be year-end flows. By tomorrow, we could see a reversal here, possibly. We'll see what the charts price in. But if you notice, also on the DXY, we're coming to our area, our pocket that we were looking at yesterday, that we were hoping price would come down to. And you can see that we've tested the top part of the resistance, but we still got a little while to go. This is the supply zone that you're looking at right now. And if this area doesn't hold, we first have this trend line. You can see this trend line over here is pretty strong to contend with. That would coincide with the top area right here of that resistance. Finally, down over here between 97.90 and 97.30. I don't think we get that low. But who knows what, the possibility exists. But you can see the dollar, aside from the euro, is acting very strong. What do I mean by that? Let's take a look really quick at some dollar pairs. I'm sorry. The New Zealand dollar actually is making quite a recovery today against the dollar. I stand well corrected. US dollar is stronger than the Canadian dollar. We see that breakout occurring. We'll get into that. I want to take a look at that cleanly with you. US dollar destroying the Mexican peso. This carry trade has ended quick. I want to get into everything individually because it's pretty exciting. There's a lot going on. So let's start from the beginning. Sorry about that. Heath, really good comment. And why it's a good comment, because you're you're um, you're fine tuning your thought process, and that's really showing the sharpness of a trader. That's really important to do. It's not so much the things you do well, it's the things that you need to improve on. You keep fine tuning those, and then all of a sudden you make some leaps and bounds. Initially, it's my biggest mistake. You need to correct your biggest mistakes, right? And then after correcting the bigger mistakes, it's more about fine tuning that machine. So that's really good to hear. Bitcoin came right down into the top of the support we had over here at 85.26. You could see it actually touched and then bounced off there. That's light support. The bigger one is down closer to 82. And right now I think it's probably in an area of consolidation. It's got to get back above the 91 to even have any hope about moving to the upside. So I'm more interested to see what happens if we come up here and touch there. Are we rejected by that? And if we're rejected by that, then there's going to be more consolidating. Unless we get up in there quickly, it looks like there could be more selling, which could lead to consolidating. That's where I think we're at right now. So right now we're kind of in no man's land on Bitcoin. And we're looking at the two important levels, 9,100 and 8,500. All right, right now, let's see what happens. I think we're going to be consolidating between the two. We already discussed the euro. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. And you can see the first thing I'm going to point out is that we're back. Remember this area over here? Before we broke out of the trend line, we were consolidating in this area. The support down at 109.71 was holding and holding for quite a while. Price kept falling below it, couldn't do it. It finally broke out of that trend line into the resistance, tested, tried to bounce yesterday, and now we're back down into this area over here. If we lose this 109.71, I think at that point I'm calling it's a failed breakout on the Japanese yen. Looking for further yen strength. Again, I expect further dollar strength. What's happening right now on the euro, I think is going to ultimately be reversed, and I think we're going to continue to see dollar strength across the board. So I don't know how much damage the yen could do against the dollar, right? You're talking about 130 pips perhaps to the downside. Now, during the last financial crisis, 2008, the Japanese yen did outperform the US dollar, and that was the only thing to outperform the US dollar. And that's possible again, but I think there's better opportunities, specifically against the commodity currencies, the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and the Canadian dollar. And I think that's the place to focus with this Japanese yen strength. Now, I'm just waiting for that confirmation that this is a failed break. All right, there's no rush. A lot of times, I think everyone is really rushing to take positions, and a lot of times everyone sees things pretty clearly, but it's the timing and the positioning that gets everyone. That's something really to focus on. Oh, I do want to take a look at that. We'll start there. So two things. There are people speculating that the Swiss bank is intervening in the markets here, which is why this is so far holding up, and we're not seeing further downside on the euro Swiss franc over here. That could very well be that 100%. That could be. They have a history of it. They're kind of open about intervening in the markets. Yesterday, they even said that they're ready to intervene, and perhaps that's what's happening here. Nevertheless, to be a buyer just because they're holding it right here is not a smart play. Actually, the opposite. If you all remember, I don't remember the year, back when the Swiss franc lost the peg that they were defending. And basically if they're intervening, once they stop intervening, it could dump far and hard. I think it's better for everyone to stay away from the euro Swiss franc. Not much else to say about that. The only thing that I would condone would be selling off of any retraces into any strong resistance. And you could see, even if they are intervening, they're only keeping it neutral, stable. Can't even get into a test of this resistance over here. So if we do, you have a resistance here. This yellow one is marked yellow because that's a pretty good one. If we can get a test of that one again, keep watching that. But I don't think the opportunity is here. And nevertheless, this is still sideways and everything else is moving. So let's focus where the movement is. We got about 12 minutes into the US equities opening, and they're going to be volatile. I don't think they're going to just stay where they are, and I don't know if they're going to be bought or sold. We'll find out. Yeah, let's start with Mima, the pound Australian dollar. I saw the New Zealand dollar was making some big gains versus the dollar. I didn't see if the Australian dollar was. I know that they both continue to be weak versus the Swiss franc. Yeah, the Australian dollar is up versus the dollar as well. So, all right. Let's take a step back for a second. So, as far as what's going on here with Britain is, as we expected during this year, they were going to enter some pretty tough spots as far as negotiations in leaving the EU. That's going to be back and forth. And again, ultimately, I guess it's safe to say until there's actually actual recovery going on inside China, that I'd be betting on the UK over Australia. So right now, I think any type of retraces are an opportunity to buy. You could see even with the pound weak the last couple of days, really hasn't done so much damage here. Trying to see if there is a trend line that we could put in here to give us a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a help. All right, so we got this little guy right here. And I'm going to say, keep it very simple. As long as you're above this, you are bullish. That's weird. I can't make that. I sorry, I need to add another one in though. No, that doesn't belong. All right, we have this trend line in over here, Mima, and I would use this as my guide over here. Stay above it. We're bullish. If you lean into this trend line over here, you could see that we're head in towards that support right there. You get below it, you can start selling it. You get below it, you can start selling it and look for a retrace back into some support. There you go. So the pound is very finicky. It has like these bursts of strength and weakness, and I think ultimately that is going to continue. I think that the Australian economy is going to continue to suffer. I think that the Australian dollar is going to continue to suffer, and I would be looking to buy any pullbacks over here. Blair, could you post that link into the Telegram, and I'll put it into this chat for everyone. Let's also check out the pound US dollar while we're here. So this looks interesting. I'm going to go on the daily just to give us a better look. And you can see that this is what I see on my eyes. I see, right? That looks like it's rolling over, and that's a topping pattern. That doesn't look good here for the British pound. Thanks, Blair. Appreciate that. I will take a look myself for sure. I'm interested in that. You know that. Thank you for sending that. And it's a benefit for everyone. This looks like a topping pattern over here. And I'm trying to see what their better area. I also saw something else on the 8-hour that I want to get into with you. I'm purposely right now taking a little bit more time on each pair and going a little slower. And the reason for that is because I think it's important for everyone to not be in a rush to take a trade and to actually spend a little bit more time on their analysis and planning their trades, because I see a lot of people really see the market really well. A lot of people see the market really well, and I think where they're messing up is on their execution. Definitely seeing lower highs right now. I don't think there's any type of trend line to put in, but I'm seeing lower highs, and I'm also seeing lower lows. Right, this looks like it's breaking down. I don't know where to jump in here because we're getting closer to an area of support, and there is the chance that it doesn't break, that it does hold. And so it's not like you want to be selling down here. And I wasn't really, this wasn't on my radar. But if we had noticed this series of lower highs, and as we came back up here into this resistance over here, right? If we were really on top of our game, this is where we've been looking to sell. And it looks weak. So right now, I mean, I'm not looking to sell down here, but listen, I'm not going to be surprised if we lose this support at the same time. Yeah. Do we cover the actually? I don't think we did. We're gonna take a look right now. So I would really like to hear Adam's view about why the euro is appreciating here because of the coronavirus. My instinct is two things: that it is because you're seeing money pulled out of U.S. equities, and then that money, when it's brought home, needs to obviously be converted into euros. So you're seeing that euro buying, which is why the last few days the stock market, the U.S. equities, has been so tightly correlated to the rise in the euro, as well as we're seeing some year monthly end flows here right now. So we saw this huge move down when we broke this. First of all, we had this head and shoulders here. When it broke the neckline, we saw that first wave down into support, bounced into the resistance, and then it's been a one-way street until we closed the gap. After closing the gap, it took some time here, and then it's been on fire, bouncing since. We're coming into this, you see this blue area of supply, the first area that we're going to be looking to test, right? The euro has been pretty strong one way, and often when you see big moves like this, you do see, this is to a lesser extent, but you see this volatility where it goes like this. And I am definitely expecting this move to be sold. It's a question to me whether it stops here at this area of supply or up to here. This is pretty strong resistance over here. I don't think we get up here. I hope we do. I would love it. I don't think we do. I think that it's going to have a hard time getting past this area over here. So let's take a look. If you guys will indulge me for 1 second, I definitely am curious to see what Adam would have to say, and then we'll take a look at it together. All right, so please take a look at this with me 1 minute. Funding trades are unwinding. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I just don't know. You could see definitely though, and just let me veer off plan for 1 second, just so you guys could see a funding trade, a carry trade unwinding, and I was asking some people in Mexico, over here, why is the peso so strong versus the dollar? It doesn't make any sense to me. The dollar's strong versus everything, and you see here that the peso is stronger. One of them worked at an investment bank, and he was just like, listen, it's the carry trade. Everyone is short dollars against the peso because it's paying 7%, and Mexico is basically better rated than any other emerging market country paying any high interest rate. So if that was the case, I mean, when carry trades blow up, they blow up big. We saw that back in 2008 on the Australian dollar. And then, another person was basically like, I don't know, but I do know that every time there's a new government in the country, we wind up losing about 25% within 4 years. And, because I was saying, well, I expected the peso to be trading at like 25, 26. So, but look how quickly this blew up. So I don't know that. I don't know what's going on with the euro. I don't know. I don't know why. But my guess is still it's the stock market flows. I think that foreigners are taking money out of the U.S. stock market, and why they're doing that, they're bringing it home, converting that into euros. All right, let's keep going. So the Swiss franc has been the play, and let's take a look at the US dollar Swiss franc first. So two things. I'm not sure what happened in 2008 with the US dollar and the Swiss franc. So then let me take one moment to check with you. So interestingly enough, the US dollar was a lot stronger than the Swiss franc during the collapse of Lehman. You could see this area over here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 months in a row. And then after the US went ahead and started its QE program, the Swiss franc crushed the dollar, as most things did crush the dollar. Why am I looking at that now? Because we're coming into a period where it looks like we could see a liquidity crisis, that we could see further US dollar strength versus everything, then perhaps the Japanese yen. And just step back over here, how much more downside is possible on the Swiss franc? Are we coming close to any really long-term supports? And I would say right where my mouse is over there at 0.9587 is a pretty strong area of support. If we lost that, I would be concerned. There's no doubt the Swiss franc is extremely strong right now, even versus the dollar. So I would stay away, right? It's just not clear at all. It's a big risk stepping in here buying dollars, even if we're looking for the dollar to continue to strengthen here. And this was the dollar strengthening, and even when it was strengthening, it was versus the Swiss franc. Technically, it doesn't look so good. If I was just looking to go ahead and speculate and take on risk, maybe I would jump in here, but that's not a good strategy. So I'd rather focus on something that looks a much higher probability. Yeah, that's right. It makes you really wary to take positions with the Swiss franc when you know the central bank plays funny games. But that being said, I wanted to take a look at the Australian dollar, Swiss franc, which continues to dump, and also the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. Holding both of them, and I have just a stop loss in at break even all the way up here, and I'm just going to hold it. And when I heard reports that the Swiss bank could be intervening against the euro, maybe that was them buying euros, because I didn't see any stabilization in the Swiss franc versus both the New Zealand dollar or Australian dollar, and we're in kind of no man's land now, where there's not much over in the way. You could see there's nothing in the way. Same thing with the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. So I'm looking for a spike down to right where my mouse is, right around there. I don't know the exact level I have in, and we'll see. It's extraordinary circumstances right now with what's going on with the coronavirus. This is just not a normal environment. It's way outside the norm. Um, and the theme to play on is, I think if anyone just takes a step back and pauses for a second and realizes that if we're going to see an escalation, we know that organizations like the WHO, or even yesterday the White House held a press conference. I think the go-to plan is never to worry the peasants, right? Or to keep everything status quo as possible, so that we keep working. And you don't want to incite any type of fear. So when these people start sounding the alarm or the alert, things are getting worrisome. And I'm not so much looking, or thinking that we're going to see widespread casualties from the virus, which I hope to God is not the case. That could happen in some third world areas that do not have any type of organization or healthcare facilities. But and speaking of Blair, some investment bank yesterday was noting that they believe the possibility of there being no coronavirus in Indonesia was implausible. I know you also said the same. I think that what we're looking at here is the world economy was already in a very fragile place, and now what we're looking at is two things. We're going to be looking at a slowdown, which is going to send the world into recession, and then on top of that, there's going to be a response by the central banks. But will it be effective is the question. How effective will it be? So what I'm getting at and what I'm saying is it seems to be pretty clear. We're seeing uh, Japanese yen, US dollar, Swiss franc. You want to be long those currencies, right? And continue to be short commodity currencies. That seems to me the trade that people want to get into and hold, and try to position in for not just a swing trade. All right, I really want to kind of ingrain that into you. It looks like the type of environment where some moves could really become extended. What else are we looking at today, everyone? We didn't even get started. I mean, I'm really happy with the flow today and the analysis, but we haven't looked at too many different pairs yet. So we'll continue making our rounds. We'll start with the US dollar, Japanese yen. I just want to get a look here intraday first on the index. All right. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. I know we briefly looked at it. And the only thing that I just want to really state here, I'm using this as more of a barometer for the, we might as well just look at it. Let's look at the Japanese yen index then. All right, so I'm looking at this. Maybe it's easier to even see on the weekly. I don't like looking at charts with lots of gaps. This over here definitely looked like it was a breakdown to me. There were some people who had put trend lines going like this that kind of has this holding, but I didn't see that. It looks like a failed breakout to me. And you could see over here, as we were looking at the US dollar, Japanese yen, if we take out that support at 109.71, then I would really confirm it as a breakout. That's why I'm looking at that instead of the index. It's going to price in everything here as well. If we break over here, this little support over here at 109.71, I'm calling this a failed breakout, and then we could see some extended declines. I think those declines will be more pronounced against the commodity currencies. So let's look at them. Let's look at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. See, this looks good here. It's taken out this area of support. It's taken it out today. It's already retested it. This looks like something that we want to be short.